light. Shadows creep and crawl with every scream. Hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness, it's a metal night.
How's it going, everybody? Wildman Wes here, and welcome to day 18 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. We've got one more film in our 1985 time block, and today we're going to be talking about House. I'm surprised I have not reviewed this movie yet, and I'm so sorry on that one. This movie was brought to us by the people that brought us the original Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham and Steve Miner. Our movie starts off with the untimely death of an old lady named Mrs. Hooper, who is found hanging in her house by a local grocery store boy. After her death, her nephew Roger Cobb, a famous author, moves back into this house that he had stayed in before a divorce and the disappearance of his son. And while he moves back into the house, he meets his next-door neighbor Harold, who is a little oafish and also the comic relief. While he is staying in the house, he notices some odd behaviors, and eventually he tells Harold about this, and Harold's thinking that Roger, well, you know, maybe it's just all in your head. Also, Roger is a former Vietnam vet, and he's been wanting to write a book about his experience in Vietnam because a lot of his other books that he had written prior to this moment have not been selling well, and he needs to find a story to write to get his career back on track. In between some of the odd behaviors within the house, as well as his nightmares regarding Vietnam while writing his new book, Roger gets a visit from the ghost of his aunt, telling him that the house is haunted. There is something wrong with the house, and she believes that the house took his son before they moved out. Roger, being shaken up by this, obviously, I wouldn't blame him, starts getting cameras and putting them up around his house where he believes an apparition or a demon or a ghost will appear. And eventually, some demons show up, and he's got to go on an all-out, drag-out fight. And eventually Harold comes by and realizes Roger wasn't lying. And it turns out, while his aunt was still alive, she was making paintings. And in one of these paintings, you see a little boy within the midst of a bathroom mirror. Roger breaks the mirror and finds out that there is a portal to another dimension where he finds his son and gets his son back out and dispels the evil by setting the house ablaze. And while he and his son escape within an inch of their lives, his ex-wife Sandy comes and sees them, and they all live happily ever after. I have to backtrack a little bit before I say happily ever after, because when I mentioned those nightmares that Roger was having about Vietnam, when he was in Vietnam, some of his fellow soldiers were captured. While he escaped, one of them, Big Ben, was taken out. And the spirit of Big Ben shows up and tries to attack Roger, and he meets his demise pretty quickly during that explosion of the house by a hand grenade. So that was pretty interesting, to say the least. I had to backtrack on that one because of the fact that that is an important part. And sometimes I forget, and I want to make sure that I give as much information I can, but at the same time not spoiling too much of the film, especially if you haven't seen it before. Okay, time to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this film. What I like about this film, the cast alone definitely brings a lot of fun humor. This movie is definitely considered a horror comedy. The character of Roger is played by William Catt, who is well known for being in the original Stephen King's Carrie, as well as the TV show The Greatest American Hero. We also have the late George Wendt. We also have Kay Lance. We also have Michael Ensign, who was in the original Ghostbusters, Children of the Corn Part 3, and many, many more films. We also get a cameo from Mindy Sterling. Most people might know her as Frau Farbissina from Austin Powers, but she's also been in so many more things. Some other tidbits of information, especially due to the cast, it's kind of funny because Sean Cunningham and Steve Miner did the original Friday the 13th. And in this movie, we also have some other Friday the 13th alumni. Kane, Jason Hodder, is doing stunts in this film, and we also have Steve Williams, Creighton Duke himself, as a police officer. So that's kind of cool how this movie definitely is like from point A of 1980 of Friday the 13th, midpoint to Jason Goes to Hell in 1994. I also just remembered another Friday the 13th alumni is part of this film, not in the cast, but in the music. Harry Manfredini does the music to this movie as well. And a lot of the music is very Friday the 13th-esque. I can't say it's a ripoff because, since he did the music for Friday the 13th, his music is going to sound similar in this. And you know what? It brings a lot of great charm and some good nostalgic feel-good memories for all you horror fans out there. There is a lot of nods of horror humor as well as everyday life humor. Roger's character is battling a divorce at the beginning of this film, and there's a lot of divorce jokes. One in particular is the first thing that he has when he moves back into the house is a TV dinner. And for those of you that might have been divorced in the past, I've not, but I have no doubt if I ever did, the first thing I'm probably going to be eating is a TV dinner. Another funny 80s nod is that in a lot of horror films, when somebody is having a very bad flashback or a nightmare or is traumatically in shock, the first thing that people do is reach for a Valium. Roger is popping Valiums like it's going out of style, and it just made me kind of laugh. It automatically made me think of Pet Sematary, where Creed goes, "I'm going to get you a Valium." That's the best thing I could say about that one right there. Also, the special effects and the fight scenes between Roger and the demons, as well as floating farm tools trying to attack him, is very Evil Dead, very Raimi-esque, especially with the comedic moments of the fight scenes where Roger has this look of shock, damage, and also the slapstick humor of getting hit and having a look of just pain, but at the same time a moment of being cross-eyed, similar to if Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead was getting attacked by a deadite and he babbles along and looks at the camera funny. William Katt does the exact same thing, and it's just as funny to me. When it comes to things that I don't like about this film, I would say the pacing is not bad. I actually really enjoy this. I would say my biggest gripe is after Harold comes to help Roger fight off the demons, he gets drunk and passes out, but after the house starts to catch fire, we don't know what happens to Harold. What the hell happened to Harold? Do you know? I don't know. I never saw him leave the house. And that bugs me. That bugs me a lot because when you have characters that you start to appreciate, and then especially in a horror film, whether it's comedy or whether it's serious, you tend to want to make sure that at the end of it, whoever wasn't taken out on camera or off camera is still okay. And we don't know. And that really bothers me. That's really going to ding the grade a little bit for me. And that being said, I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I love this film. It's very rewatchable. I could probably watch this at least once a year. Because of the whole Harold situation, that is going to ding the grade quite a bit. I'm giving this one an A-. I know, there are people out there that love House big time, and I do too. It's just, as a film critic right now, I have to be honest with where I am at, and that whole situation really bothered me big time. And that's why the grade is dinged all the way down to an A-. So, if you're upset about that, I understand. But at the same time, I have to stick to my proverbial chair. Can't say the other word because might get demonetized. Well, we hope you enjoyed this review on House. If you agree with me on some of the things I've said, leave a thumbs up. And if you don't, hey, there's that comment section below. Let me know what things you liked that I didn't like, or, you know, the lack of that I didn't say that I didn't like. And I just want to know what y'all think about these movies, because not every horror movie's for everyone. And this one, I would dare say it's for a lot of people. Maybe not everyone, but horror comedy definitely is a breath of fresh air from the terrifying things that we watch every day. Apart from that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, you push that red button and you ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman West, and we will see you tomorrow for day 19 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.